Hi YouTube. It's April the 4th today, and I knew that because today's Friday, the day of the Skills Canada competition that I've been looking forward to for the past ever now. Um, and this has been a very, very bad day, actually. I'm very unimpressed with the competition and what happened, but like this is just not good. Just, I'm so upset right now. So basically, what happened is I woke up this morning to get ready to be at the campus for 8 a.m. Yeah, I woke up, I had my energy drink, I got dressed up, I looked good. I'm like, yeah, let's do this. I got this, man. I was like psyching myself up, and I get there, and I'm freaking out a little because I'm a first year. I didn't think I was going to do very good. But I get there and I go up to the registration desk, and there's not a lot of people there. I go to the post-secondary one. I'm like, hey, I'm here for the competition. And she's like, okay, what's your name? And what competition are you doing? So I'm like, my name's Sam, and I'm doing the IT Systems and Networking Administration. She's like, okay. I don't really see your name tag here. Do you, it's like, and I look at her, well, I'm from this campus. Does that make a difference? She's like, oh yeah, that's what it is here. She filled out a name tag for me. Take your name tag, go get a t-shirt, and go to your room. She pointed to the little sheets with all the rooms on it. Go to your room, and you'll get the orientation there. I'm like, okay, sweet. So I get up to the room and I start talking to Mitch because he's there too, and I'm just like super excited for it. Like I'm like a kid at Christmas. Like I can't wait for this. I've never had this kind of an opportunity before. I just really want to compete and do my best and see how well I can do. So I get there and I start talking to Linda. She's opening up the doors and getting ready to prepare for the competition. She never got my registration form apparently. So that's the first bad step there. Because when I went to the registration desk, they didn't actually tell me I wasn't registered. They just said, "Oh, we don't have your name tag. You know, you have this name tag. Go up to your room. Everything's fine." So she told me to run down and get a register. It's a little bit of an argument, actually. Not between me and her, but just between her and all the other teachers there. She's like, I never got your registration form. Who filled this out for you? I didn't know you were in this competition. I thought you were doing some other competition. I'm like, well, originally, Linda was going around looking for people to do the web development competition. I said I'd do it because I just wanted to compete in something, and no one's told me about doing the IT Systems and Networking Administration, which is the one I really wanted to do originally. So up to Linda, and I said, yeah, I'll do that. She's like, cool. So talk to Albert. He has the registration form. So I talked to Albert, and he's like, so what do you want to do this one? I was like, do you have any background in web development? Like, well, yeah, I made websites before. I was like, I can do HTML pretty decent. He's like, well, there's some programming coding there too. I'm like, yeah, I don't really know that too well, but I wouldn't mind trying. I really wanted to do the networking one, but no one's told me about that yet. He's like, you want to do the networking one? I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, your course is actually more tailored for that, so I would encourage you, if that's the one you want to do, to register for that one instead. I'm like, well, are they at the same time? It's like, yeah, they're in the same room. I'm like, oh, well, if that's the case, like, if I can't do both, I definitely want to do the IT one. Like, I want to do the networking one. He's like, okay. So he gave me the competition number. He gave me the registration form. I filled it out, and I got the competition number after. And I brought it down. I asked him, like, Albert, after I get the competition number, like, where do I bring this? He's like, bring it to campus administration. I'm like, okay, cool. So I brought it down, and the lady looked at it, she's like, oh, yeah. I'm like, is this where I hand in registration form for Skills Canada? She's like, yeah, this is where you do it. So I hand it in to her, and she looks at it, and she's like, oh, you don't have a teacher signature here. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, do you know if your teacher's still in the building? Can you get him to sign it real quick? I'm like, hey, I can do that. So I grabbed it, went back to Albert. I'm like, hey, Albert, do you think you can sign my registration? I know I was just here talking to you, but I forgot to get it signed before I brought it down. He's like, oh, yeah, no, that's not a problem. So he signed it. He's like, I'm sorry for making you walk back and forth all that much. I was like, oh. So I brought it down, and she's like, all right, thank you for the thing. I'll make sure they get it and stuff. And so Linda never got it after, and it was signed. So her and Albert were like in a little bit of an argument. She's like, Albert, did you sign her up for this competition? He's like, yeah. It's like, where did when you sign, like, wasn't she doing the web development? He's like, yeah, but she wanted to do the networking instead, so I signed her for the networking. It's like, I didn't get a registration form. He's like, she filled out a registration form. You signed it? Yeah, I signed it. I was like, where'd you pass it into? I told her to pass it. And I'm like, did you pass it? I'm like, yeah, I brought it down to I brought it down to the room. They're like, do you know where you brought it to? I'm like, Was it learner services? Is that, and Albert's like, no, I told you to go to campus administration. I'm like, yeah, that's the one I went to. I just said learner services because that was actually the last place I had to pass in a form for the student council elections. I had to go to learner services, so it was just the first place in my mind. It's like, no, I went to campus administration. I asked the person behind the desk if this is the right place. They said yes, and that they took the form. They said, whoever will get it, but Linda never got it. Albert did sign for it, so Linda told me to run and grab another registration form, fill it out, and they'll see what they could do for me. So I did that, and I'm here like running around school. This is all of 10 minutes before the competition is supposed to start, like not even really, and I'm there like filling it out as fast as I can, and I'm running back to the room, and I don't see Albert, I don't see Linda, and I'm thinking like I need to get this signed by a teacher so I can actually compete. So I go up to Jackie, and I'm like, Jackie, hey, listen, they didn't get my registration form. I was talking to you yesterday. I told you I was competing. I just need to teacher signature for this so I can actually get registered. I don't know why I didn't go through. I don't know why you guys didn't get it, but I really want to. Could you just sign it for me, please? And she looked at me, oh, yeah, you're doing the IT Systems and Networking Administration. I'm just sitting here thinking like, well, duh, that's my course. I'm a Computer Systems and Networking student. Of course I want to do the IT Systems and Networking Administration one. She's like, no, you can compete in this. And I'm kind of like dumbfounded at this point, like, what do you mean I can't compete in this? I was originally registered for it. Like I did, like Albert told me I could do it. I sent in a registration form. It got lost somehow. What do you mean I can't do it? Like, why? She starts explaining to me. She's bringing me to the room. She's like, explaining to me, oh, honey, you can't do this. Like, no, we can't have you here right now. I'm like, why? I registered. Like, I've been training for this. It's like, you haven't been training that much. I'm like, you don't know. I've never actually had Jackie as my instructor. She teaches the other class. She hasn't taught our class yet. I will have her next semester, like the September semester, and she's just gonna be like, you haven't trained that much. I'm like, what? You don't really know that. I was already I was talking to her yesterday. At the end of the day, I went to her office. I'm like, hey Jackie, I'm registered for the IT Systems and Networking Administration skills competition tomorrow. Where do what time do I get here and where do I go? She looked at me, she said, oh, your glasses look really nice. I think they're adorable. You go to the lobby, be here around 8 a.m. because the students are going to get here between like a little bit after 8:30. So be here 8 a.m. so you can be registered for all the high school kids and stuff and, be here on time. I'm like, okay, cool. So I was talking to her yesterday. I've been in contact with Albert about the competition. No one told me they didn't get a registration form. No one gave me any insight as to why I couldn't compete either. No one's mentioned that to me. There's, and I told all of my class, and all the other class knew. Like I said, I was training for it, so I was completely oblivious to this, and I've reached out to instructors and asked them. Anyway, getting outside the point here now. I was talking to Jack, she's like, oh yeah, you can't compete in this. I'm like, but why not? You don't know any of this, honey. Like, you are first year. Like, look at this stuff. And then she starts showing me the key, like all the answers. She's like, do you see this? You can't do this. I didn't like that. I really did. She is not my instructor. She hasn't been my instructor yet. She doesn't know my abilities. Granted, I don't know if I could do it or not. Like I said, I wanted to get into the competition this year to kind of test the waters, to, have the opportunity to compete, to see how well I could do, to see what I did know. And she looks at me, it's like, you don't know this. Like, you don't know this stuff. You can't do this. Do you know how to use a Linux server? I'm like, well, yeah, I was actually using one the other night. Like, one of the guys in this competition was helping me with this. Like, which one? Like, who is this? And like, like, she got really upset. She's like, you can't do this. Like, and she's showing me the key, so now I can't compete because I have the answers in front of me. But she's like, yeah, you can't do this stuff. Like, you don't know this stuff. You haven't learned this stuff yet. And it's like, how do you know? You don't know my background. I could have a degree in computer science already. Like, I could know this stuff. I could be completely self-taught, and I could be very literate in computer technology. She doesn't know, But she's sitting there telling me I can't do it, I can't register it now, and then she makes up the excuse that, oh hey, you can only have one person from each campus in the competition. That doesn't seem right, because there was no previous competition to see who got this far, that I was aware of at least. That's another issue. Anyway, so Jackie's like, you can't do this, and they're like, oh, but you can stick around, and Linda's like, yeah, you can stick around, like, you're already here, you can volunteer. I'm like, I could just go home, I'd like to go home, and, like, because at that point, I was just really upset, I didn't want to be there, but Linda's like, no, you can stay, and you can volunteer. I'm sure Albert could use the help, and, you can stay in this room, and then you can watch the competition. I'm like, you know what, if that's the case, if I get to watch the competition, if I get to stay in this room and I get to actually look at the competition, maybe they'll familiarize me with it a little for next year, and sure. And they brought me down, got me a volunteer shirt. The worst part about that, though, is as I was leaving the room to get the volunteer shirt, all the guys from my class that were volunteering today and all the guys from the other class walked by the door, and they saw me there, and they're like, oh, hey Sam, good luck in the competition now, you got this, good luck, and 90% of them just good luck, and it's like, yeah, that's good. So I get to volunteer for the room, which is great. Not really, because I never actually got to watch the competition. Every time I tried to get close to the computers or like kind of look over the guys' shoulders and just see what they were doing, I wasn't like tapping them or talking to them, or just kind of watching, just like, wow, this is, because you can watch all the other competitions. This guy comes over that's been like, I can't remember his name, but he was like one of the judges, the guest judges. He's like, no, you can't be near the competitors. It could be a grievance, it's paperwork, and I don't want to do that. Like, could you not? You can't stand there. You can't see any of them. You can't do anything. And then the students were coming in, because they were on the tour, like the high school students that all the guys were volunteering to take on tour, come in the room, and they couldn't even look at what the competitors were doing. What's the point of it? It's like every other competition you went to, they could look at what the competition was. This one, they had to stare at the back of the computer screen. Some guys, going down and typing, like just looking down and typing. No, I don't. It wasn't very cool, but anyway, I didn't get to compete. I didn't get to watch the competition. I feel very upset about it because I was not informed prior to this morning, prior to the competition itself. Like when the competition was supposed to start, I was told I couldn't compete, and that's not fair at all to me. I just wanted the opportunity, and Jackie said you can only have one person from each campus, in the competition. So that bugged me a little, because I've seen other competitions, I've heard of other competitions, I've heard of people, of campuses having multiple people in other ones. So I went to the award ceremony tonight to find the person that was running skills, to talk to them, see if they knew anything about this, about my registration getting lost, and the fact that I wasn't allowed to compete, and that was set aside and kind of talked down to a little, like, you don't know this anyway. And I was talking to her, she said, oh, well, if the registration form was lost, that's within your campus, you do have to talk to the campus about that. And I'm like, okay, cool. So about the rules, like, is it true that you can only have one representative from each campus competing at a time? She said, yeah, you can, for the post-secondary, you can only have one representative. I'm like, okay. I wasn't informed about that before. Apparently Matt, the guy that was from our campus there, was training for this since January, and no one told me about that. No one warned me prior to, and I didn't hear of any regional competition. I didn't hear of any competition within the campus either for this. So I don't know how he got chosen. I'm not discrediting his abilities at all. It's just, I feel like it's a little unfair that there was no competition for that. Like, I didn't even get to do a competition for the competition, I guess. I don't know. Like, I was really looking forward to this since they brought it up at the beginning of last semester, and I was presented with the opportunity, but it was false. It was a false opportunity, and that doesn't sit well with me. I was really excited for this, and like I said, I took my own spare time to train for this. that I could be working on my assignments, but I really wanted to do well in this. I really wanted to try my best, and I just wanted the opportunity to compete. I went into it fully aware that I wasn't going to win. I probably wasn't going to go to nationals. I probably wasn't going to win. Even if I did somehow freak accident get into nationals, no one's going to win there. I just wanted the opportunity. And like I said, there was no competition that our class or the other class was aware of to get into the skills competition either. So I don't know how they chose that representative, but I'm pretty sure it's against the rules to just put one person through without having an open competition. You know, you can't just pick and choose favorites, right? Like, that's not how competitions work. It's not like, oh, the winner's the person I like, or the person that gets to go is the person I like. And something doesn't sit well with me there. But yeah, it was all kinds of messed up today. Another bad thing that happened is one of the instructors that was heading the IT skills competition. There was a high school web development. There was high school like IT stuff, and there was post-secondary IT. One of the instructors left the answer key for a major section of the high school IT portion out and open in front of a student while he was sat down writing the test. And they came over, got upset with him, like, did you see that? And he's like, yeah, it's right in front of me. Well, did you read it? It's like, yeah, they're the answers. They're right there. It's not like it's not like it's how do you that's what you do. Like, if it's right there in front of you, the answers are, that was laid there in front of you, how do you not look at it, you know? And they're like, okay, well, we have to scratch the whole portion of the competition. So, like, how do you mess it up? How do you just lay an answer key out in front of a student? What is that like? I don't know if that's like. Anyway, this whole day was very bad. Very upset about the whole situation, as I mentioned multiple times, as I've been saying all day, actually. I should have been told prior to. My registration form had my name, my phone number, my email address, and my MCP number. So they would have been able to contact me. I think, I don't know, I think they would have gotten the registration form. I don't see a member, like someone in the secretary throwing it away or just getting rid of it or losing it somehow, like the lady that I handed it to a campus administration. I don't see them losing it. I feel like someone got my registration form, saw it, like, oh, we already have a student in that competition, and got rid of it. Like, I could just be crazy here, but I was not informed that there was another student competing. I was not informed that I wasn't able to compete. I just didn't know about any of this. It was very poorly done, and I just would have appreciated some warning. And at this point, you know, it's too late for me to compete. I understand. I don't want to compete anymore. I don't even want to do it next year. I don't want to do it the year after that. I'm disgusted with Skills Canada. I'm disgusted with the situation. I would like an apology. That's pretty much all I want, is an apology if someone actually did lose my, like, registration form, or, like, an apology. It's not a lot, you know? It's like, hey, I'm sorry, no one told you you weren't registered. I'm sorry, no one told you couldn't compete. I'm sorry you took your spare time that you actually don't have, you know, to work for this. And then we didn't even give you the opportunity, nor was there any regional competition that you're aware of to compete for this, so. Yeah, but yeah, really the worst part was all the guys knew that I was supposed to compete, and when they brought their tour groups in, I had to explain it to, like, really, I knew pretty much every volunteer there, but every time someone came in, I had to explain to, like, one or both of the volunteers, like, oh yeah, I can't compete now because they didn't get my registration form, and then they said I wasn't allowed to compete anyway because they already have a representative here, even though I did get a registration form originally to fill out, and no one told me anything about it, so, you know, it's, yeah. Now I'm just ranting, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut this, and I'm sorry, I'm so upset. Sucks. Yeah, like, it just sucks. It's a little embarrassing having to explain it over and over again to each volunteer that came in with their students, you know, why aren't you competing, or or just getting told as well that I can't anyway. I wouldn't be able to do it. I just wish the whole situation was treated better, and that I just wish I didn't waste all my time for this, and I never want to hear tell of Skills Canada again. It's at that point where I'm sick of it, and disgusted by it, and it's just poorly done on the campus's behalf. It was a fucking shit show.